I bet she thought that I was gonna let the last day of Black History Month go by and not show my face. No, it's the last day of Black History Month. And since it's the last day of Black History Month, I decided to share a secret with you, which is the reason why Black people worldwide remain where they are, oppressed, distressed, marginalized, stigmatized, always getting carded, having to accept racial slurs slurred our way, you know. And this is the reason why. And I'll tell you when this is over, once I share my screen with you, what we as a people need to do to really free ourselves from the chains that have been weighing us down since the 1700s. All right, here goes. Hope you could see it.
Denmark Vesey planned the largest slave rebellion in American history. A sellout snitched, and 35 Black people were unalived. That's why we don't tolerate traitors, ever. Let me tell you a story that explains everything about why Black Americans have zero tolerance for sellouts, snitches, and traitors. It's a story that goes back 200 years, but it's still relevant today because the lesson never changes. When Black people trust the wrong person with our liberation plans, people die. And the story I'm talking about is the Great Betrayal of Denmark Vesey. Now, if you don't know who Denmark Vesey was, let me educate you real quick because this is essential Black history that doesn't get taught enough. Denmark Vesey was born around 1767, most likely in the Caribbean, though some sources say Africa. What we know for sure is that he was enslaved as a child and brought to the Danish West Indies, which is how he got the first name Denmark. Eventually, he was purchased by a slave trader named Captain Joseph Vesey, who brought him to Charleston, South Carolina. Here's where the story gets interesting. In 1799, Denmark Vesey won the lottery. I'm not making this up. He literally won $1,500 in the East Bay Street Lottery in Charleston, which in today's money is roughly $35,000. And you know what he did with that money? He bought his freedom, paid $600 to purchase himself from Captain Vesey, and suddenly he was a free Black man in Charleston, South Carolina in 1800. Now, most people in his situation would have just been grateful to be free and kept their heads down. But Denmark Vesey wasn't most people. He was brilliant. He was multilingual, speaking English, French, and probably some African languages. He was well-read. He was a skilled carpenter who built up a successful business. He became one of the most respected free Black men in Charleston. And he used all of that privilege, all of that status, all of that access to plan the largest slave rebellion in American history. For years, Denmark Vesey organized in secret. He recruited co-conspirators. He studied the Haitian Revolution and drew inspiration from how enslaved people in Haiti had successfully overthrown their oppressors and established a Black republic. He read the Bible and used it to justify liberation, particularly the story of Exodus. He was strategic, he was patient, he was methodical, and by 1822, he had recruited thousands of enslaved and free Black people to participate in a massive uprising that was supposed to happen on July 14th, Bastille Day. The plan was ambitious and detailed. They were going to attack the city arsenal, seize weapons, kill the slaveholders, burn Charleston to the ground, and then escape by ship to Haiti, where they would be free. It was brilliant, it was bold, it was organized, and it would have worked except for one thing: a sellout. His name was George Wilson, though some accounts say it was Peter Priolo or William Paul. The identity gets murky because multiple enslaved people snitched, but what we know is this: someone who had been trusted with the plan, someone who was supposed to be part of the liberation, someone who knew the details, went to their enslaver and told them everything. Let me say that again so it really sinks in. A Black person, someone who was enslaved themselves, someone who had everything to gain from freedom, chose to betray the entire plan to white slaveholders. And because of that betrayal, because of that one person choosing to align themselves with their oppressors instead of their liberators, Denmark Vesey and 34 other Black people were unalived, hanged, murdered by the state, and 37 more were sold away to other plantations, separated from their families, sent to even worse conditions as punishment. The rebellion that could have freed thousands was stopped before it even started. And it wasn't stopped because the white folks were smarter or had better intelligence networks. It was stopped because a Black person told on other Black people. It was stopped because someone valued their individual safety over collective liberation. It was stopped because someone believed that cooperating with white supremacy would somehow benefit them more than joining the fight for freedom. And here's the thing that makes it even more tragic. The sellouts didn't even get rewarded in any meaningful way. They got a few $100s. They got to stay on their plantation instead of being sold away. They got temporary favor from their enslavers, but they were still enslaved. They were still property. They were still subjected to the same brutal system. The only difference is they had to live with the knowledge that they had sentenced 35 people to death and condemned thousands more to continued bondage. That betrayal, that moment in 1822, it's seared into Black American consciousness. It's part of our collective memory. It's why we have such a strong anti-sellout culture. It's why we don't trust people who cozy up to white power structures while claiming to represent Black interests. It's why we side-eye Black people who throw other Black people under the bus for proximity to whiteness. It's why we have...
There you have it, you know. It started long before Denmark Vesey, but the betrayal of Denmark Vesey's mission to see his Black brothers and sisters freed from slavery and the atrocity, the beatings, and all of the things that Black people were subjected to during plantation days. A few Black people didn't want to give up getting to eat directly from the master's plate or getting his hand-me-down shoes. Nothing new, you know, everything just hand-me-down, hand-me-down. And yeah, there are some Black people in this day and age who still have their minds programmed like those who betrayed Denmark Vesey, you know? And that is the secret. The secret to liberation, I mean, absolute and complete liberation, is to simply just unite, get together, stop believing in the oppressor. You know, in this day and age, especially here up north in Canada, the funding vultures are the ones who will stop liberation, who don't want to see equality for every single Black soul walking the earth here in Canada. They want to hold on to their funding. They want to hold on to their extension number. They want to hold on to their key card. But at the end of the day, I told you this before, when our oppressors say you people or address us as visible minority, that means the Uncle Toms and the sellouts just alike as the common Negro like you and me. So until we stop betraying each other and hurting each other, we're always going to be like this, click, click, okay? They got rid of the visible chains, but I'm talking the invisible chains. The invisible chains are inequity, inequality, racism, the green light to gun down our people in the street, and to continue flooding North American streets with Black, red blood until we stop selling out, until we stop believing that by selling out and betraying who God created you to be. Remember, we don't have a survey in our mother's womb to say, I'm going to go with Caucasian. I'm going to go with Negro or Asian. We don't have a choice. You are who you are. I am who I am because that's who the great I am said I am. We don't have a choice. So when you sell out, don't think you're just selling out a bunch of rebellious Black people, you know. You're also selling out the Almighty God. You're selling out yourself, and you bring down other people with you. Look behind me. What does it say? Black people united for change. Until we unite, change will never come about. And that is how other ethnic groups build. They do it as one, not apart, not solo, not staggerly. And this has been the anecdote since the first chain was slapped on to that African brother and that African sister on the banks of Gambia in the motherland. All we have to do is work together, to fight together, plan together, and strategize together. So don't think, gee, I'm not signing that petition by Black People United for Change, or I'm not going to stand with the parents of advocates for Black parents, or I'm not going to support this because I don't like so and so, or I'm a Black member of parliament, local parliament MPP, and I don't want to lose my position. You know what? When you decide to sell out, you've already lost. So as we close up Black History Month, we know we're going to wake up Black tomorrow. I'm just rolling with the motions. I just want to say to you, we can do it. If Denmark VC, a Black man back then, could plan and strategize a revolt and how to free his people and get out of Dodge, look at us now with all the advanced technology. We can do it too. But we can't do nothing unless we as a people unite. So tell a friend to tell a friend. It's time that we get together and be all right, just like what Bob Marley says. Until then, we're always going to be in bondage, mental bondage and societal bondage. You don't know. I hope you take all that you've learned through Black History Month. We're still going to get up Black tomorrow morning, but hopefully we wake up Black and equipped with knowledge. So let's be a speaker like Martin Luther King. Let's have that fight like Malcolm X. Let's take the ideologies of Marcus Garvey and stop trying to sit at tables where there's no chair for us to sit, like what Marcus Garvey said, and get on up out of here. You know, remember our ancestors. Remember your forefathers and your foremothers, the struggles they faced and the progress they've made thus far, and not stray away from the true meaning of Black history, which should be to remind us every single day that in order for us to get anywhere, we have to live like how our ancestors did. They were chained together, not apart. Bless up yourself. This is Vanessa St. Louis, the CEO of Black People United for Change. Power to the people.